from your perspective at the end of the game, what happened and what was the role that your players played in that, specifically D'Souza and David McCormick?
Well, obviously there was a role that was played by our players, but I got to watch the tape and see all the angles and all that stuff to know to the extent of it. But I know that we were in the wrong. I'm not saying that both parties weren't in the wrong, but I know that we were in the wrong. I was shaking hands with Bruce as the play was going down to the other end. Bruce came down and to shake hands, and so I did not see what transpired until everybody started running out there. I didn't even know that it was a melee until, 3 or 4 seconds after everybody was out there, because sometimes those things kind of start and then they just kind of dissolve. But yeah, that was an embarrassment on our part for the role that we played in it, and there will be consequences that I'm sure I'll announce tomorrow for that role as soon as I'm able to study it and come to grips with all of it.
Bill, have you seen any video or images of
Yeah,
the event?
I did.
What were your thoughts on what you saw on video or
Well, first of all, I don't have my readers with me right now, so that's I on phone I have a hard time seeing very well. But my initial thoughts is exactly what I just said. Is that without knowing exactly everything that went down, it was obvious to me that we played a role in what transpired, and there will be penalties for that. But I need to see the film before I comment and have any definitive thoughts on exactly why or how it got started, because to be honest with you, I do not have any idea about that. But even regardless of how it got started, that's no way for mature men to act regardless of the situation.
Coach, did you get to talk to any of your players, ask them any?
There was no discussion on
Okay.
what happened
Okay.
from their vantage point. We talked to them and relayed to them how selfish it was. We relayed to them how disappointed we are. We should be in here talking about Christian Brown, and selfishness definitely created a situation where that's not going to be the storyline whatsoever. So there was no communication back and forth. It was one way.
Bill, Bruce Weber said in hindsight he wishes he would have told his players to back off more at the end of the game. Do you take any exception to the way they ended the game, playing until the final second?
I think it's a little bit different because we've had multiple issues with K-State on this front. I think it was a little bit different if you have the lead and the other team quits guarding. Obviously, you don't go score. If the team is behind and you teach your kids to play to the whistle or play the possession, I don't think that you should take total offense to anything that transpires. I'm not sure that it's the right thing to do, but I'm not going to place any blame on Gordon going and taking his ball. I mean, Silvio know he was being defended, and he took his ball, and certainly the way Silvio reacted to him taking his ball, going down and blocking the shot, that's all fair game. The corn hadn't gone off yet. But then what transpired after that is obviously what set everything off. So I'm not going to take offense to that at all. Do I think it's right? Probably just depends on the situation. But you know, you've been in enough situations and enough hostile environments and things like that you should be mature enough to handle it, whatever's thrown at you towards the end of the game.
Can you just talk about Christian's night?
Yeah. Well, he was the best player in the game. You know, for his first K-State game. You know, usually going back over time, our kids from Kansas and kids from Kansas that played at K-State have taken great pride in this game, maybe more so than some out-of-staters do. And you know, both teams are limited on the number of in-staters. compared to maybe some other schools because of the proximity to players. But I know it meant a lot to Dean Wade. I know it meant a lot to the Wayne Simeons and certainly Christian Brown. It will as well. But I thought he was terrific. And the lid came off, and still we shot the ball pretty poorly. I think could be like 3 of 18 if it wasn't for Christian shooting the ball from 3. So that's obviously something we got to get better at. But I thought he was the best player in the game.
Bill, is somebody who loves this, the college game, whether you're a coach in this or not, kind of what's your reaction when you see stuff like this happen in college basketball? And what do you think the general public maybe response should be when they look at something like this?
Well, it's obviously it's an embarrassment. It's not something that you'd be proud of. What happened is absolutely zero signs of toughness. I mean, it's a sign of immaturity and selfishness more so than it is toughness. So if I was a fan watching, obviously, depending on what your perspective is, there would be nothing about that would intrigue me to want to watch more. At least from what happened tonight, I don't see anything positive. We've seen things like this happen other places, and certainly it gets some attention, and it's the exception and not the rule, but still it's inexcusable. I mean, these things can't happen. This doesn't have anything to do with competition. Those were selfish motives on why it took place at the end.
Bill, did they tell you who got ejected?
The entire team, for both teams except for the 10 players that were in the game. So, it's kind of a screwy deal because I didn't understand that because everybody thought the game was over, and it happened after the game. But I guess after the officials looked at it, there was 1 second left, and so anybody that left the bench, even though both teams were in handshake lines, anybody that left the bench would have been ejected, and the only people that could complete the game would be the guys that are on the floor at the end. So Silvio got a technical for taunting, and then all bench players were ejected. So,
is there a rule that the next game guys who get ejected have to sit out?
As far as there wasn't a fight with those guys that ran out there, to my knowledge, but the league office will make that. But there will be certainly consequences, and I'm sure suspensions after I study it that will come from what we determined to have happened.
Have you heard of? I mean, there's a lot of fans sitting back there in that area, right? Have you heard if anybody got caught up in this, or if anybody was injured or anything like that?
It happened in handicap seating. So at least you're going to do something. At least take it on the court or whatever. I mean, it's ridiculous that they would go into the stands, and so I haven't heard anything like that. I haven't heard of anybody being injured or anything like that. But you're asking the wrong person because I certainly wasn't a part of that. I'm part of seeing that.
Obviously sort through with what unfolded tonight. There's an image that's circulating that shows D'Souza with a chair over his head.
I actually saw that.
Okay.
I was there when that happened. There'll be, which is regardless of what happened, it's a terrible image, and there'll certainly be consequences for that.
Coach, what happened at the end of the game?
I have no idea. I didn't see anything, so it's disappointing it ended that way. Credit to them; they kicked our butt, and in so many ways. Obviously, Christian had a special night for them. I made some threes. We had our special night the other day against West Virginia. Dejuan was our spark. They had a spark, and that you get games like that. It happens at home, and I thought we started out okay. They had 4 turnovers to start the game. They didn't get a turnover the rest of the half. Obviously, second chance points was a big difference in it. They had 17-13, but ours were probably late. Theirs were when it really mattered. And I thought we battled Azubuike inside. We battled McCormick. But the guards got downhill. They had 40 points in the paint. And, that's just, I think it was 40-22. And that's just too many. You got to protect the paint against them. And some of it they got in transition, obviously off our turnovers. I think it was for our young guys, our new guys, it was a eye-opening moment, tough environment to play in, and we didn't handle it very well early. We made a little bit of a push. Some of it, they just missed some shots. But then when they wanted to flex their muscles, they did and found a way to get it back into 20. Kind of like, I guess in a way, like our game against West Virginia the other day.
Bruce, you said you didn't see it, but obviously some of
did
your
not
coaches
see it.
were trying to sort through it and break it up. I mean, how did you
didn't
react
see it. I was going
specifically
to shake hands, and I didn't see it.
after the game?
Just
about it?
you win with class, you lose with class. Disappointing that anything had to happen at the end, and that's all I can say. It's probably my fault. But I had told them not to press. I had told them not to foul. I told them back off. But the kids are young guys. They want to play hard. They were disappointed, frustrated. Played. You don't want to take that fire out of their belly, but at the same time, you got to handle it right, and it created I guess a bad thing. But again, credit to Kansas. They kicked our butts. No, I have stress, and I break out during the season, and it just happened at a bad time. And I told David Sloan it's because of him.
Bruce, is somebody who loves college basketball, when something like this happens, just kind of, whether you're the coach and
It's
involved in it or not.
disappointing, and again, it should have been avoided. Again, it's my guys. It's my fault. They're obviously just came here with wanting to have a game, compete, and we didn't compete like we needed to, and probably a little frustration, especially the young guys. And you wish it would have ended a little different, and it didn't. That's sad. I guess I don't know. Their guy got a technical. I don't know what happened. I just didn't see it until after.
Bruce, do you take any issue with DeJuan playing till the final second?
I just said, if you listen, I don't want to. I told them to back off. I don't, but he's a competitive guy. I don't want to take that fire out of his belly, but he also got to be smart. And all we talk about is act right, treat people right, play the right way, and that's been our way at K-State. That came probably. I don't know if Coach Snyder said it, but that's how he brought his guys along. That's what makes K-State special, and it probably shouldn't have happened. So life lessons. That's what we talked to them about in the locker room, and good fortune, no one got hurt, and hopefully no major situation from it.
Bruce, in regards to the actual game and when it got going, how disappointed were you in the start from your team and just kind of how those first
Actually,
8 or 9 minutes went?
7-7. Shoot, if you watch us play, most of the time it's 7-0 or 10-0 to start. So it was 7-7. We turned them over 4 times. We made some plays, and then Christian came in. They went small. We didn't do a very good job. He made some shots, got it to 15-7. I think an 8-0 run. If I could be wrong, I'm getting old, so I don't always remember exactly. But and then we just never could get over the hump to make it tough on them. And we took some tough shots. We turned it over. We didn't give ourselves a chance.
Bruce, there in the second half, you called timeout with your team on a 13-2 run when
They
they just
were
wanted
dying.
the 3. They were just
They were
tired.
dying. We had 3 guys ass out. So I just was trying to give them. We were just lucky that they had missed some shots. They missed shots. We just, we had guys, 3 different guys raise their hand to get out. So I figured, hey, maybe stop the. But obviously it was a bad timeout because then they probably went on a run. I don't know.
Sloan had 17 and 5, and I know he's one of your young guys. What did he give you tonight?
Well, I thought he started poorly. He had some of those turnovers early, but he can make some plays. He gets downhill. For a little guy, he gets in that paint and makes some good plays. Got a little pull-up jumper, which is nice. Reads the defense. He obviously he gave us a lot more than a lot of guys. So, he's the only thing is his defensive awareness and his breakdowns. That's but we might have to live with that to have a little better offense. I don't know.
Coach, were you able to look at a video of what happened at the end in
No, I
terms
didn't
of
see
the
anything.
melee?
I talked to our team. I did not see it, so I don't know. I saw Dejon Stud. I turned around, shake hands, steal the ball. I turned around to shake hands with Coach Self and their staff, and the next thing I knew, their guys were running, and I turned around. That's all I saw. So it's yes. That's what I said before. I'm just happy nothing major happened to either team where there was a escalated fight or something, because that would not be the best thing for Kansas K-State rivalry or for college basketball. And so it's a bad play at the end. It's disappointing. Life lessons for our young guys. Hopefully next time they'll be a little smarter. Thank you, guys. Go Chiefs.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.